You say whatever you want, actually. So, hey everybody. I'm gonna wait for a few people to get in here. But for those of you that have followed me for a while, you have met Lee before, but you're gonna meet him again today. And for those of you that are new, you get the distinct pleasure of meeting Lee firsthand and hearing about this incident with the Denver Fire Department, which unfortunately is not working out very well. And it's really a shame because we have a good relationship. We had a good relationship with the majority of Denver Fire and their response to the homeless community and doing the right thing. Respecting us. Yeah, that's what Lee says. So there was, hey Lee, do you know what today is? Do you know what the 1-year anniversary of today is?
No.
Where were we a year ago? That was even prior to that. Think of September last year. Like for a whole month, where was MJ?
In the hospital.
Where were you?
Helping her.
Helping her. Where were you staying?
Behind 7-Eleven.
On the river. Today is the 1-year anniversary of the sweep on the river. This very day. And you guys have to know that because of Lee, the guy who's always there to help people, who never harms anyone, who minds his business, takes care of himself, doesn't ask for shit from anyone, was the guy that rode his bike into the sweep while I was threatened with arrest, kept outside of the fence, like a half a mile away. Lee rode his bike in there and recovered all of MJ's belongings. Those of you that know MJ, you've seen her before. She stays right here with Lee because she's safe. But MJ was in the hospital for 30 plus days, and I had shown up today, a year ago, on the river with a letter from the hospital social worker that said, please do not take this woman's home. Cops never even looked at it, never took it, never let me talk to anyone. They ended up taking her home. Yep, oh well, no big deal. But Lee went in there and rounded up all her personal belongings. And prior to the river sweep, Lee and I and MJ and Marcos met each other at this very spot. I'm not going to say where it's at, but we met under the circumstances of the District 4 Community Resource Officer Jeremy Chavez showing up with CDOT and taking all of your property, throwing it in the trash, and leaving you guys out here the day before a snowstorm.
Yep.
That's where we originally met. And what happened that night of that snowstorm, Lee?
Seizures that night, helping everybody move out of the river.
Yeah, he had seizures.
It just happened like the last minute, and so we hadn't even had our tent set up. We got a partial tent set up, sitting there burning whatever we can, walking out in the tent, middle early in the morning, black, from burning what we can, so we can
Stay warm.
If they were to stay here and let us stay here, be warm, that would have been a different story, but it caused us more problems.
Caused you more health problems. You had no shelter. No one gave you any notice.
Nope.
This is hidden. And they got away with it until I got wind of it, and I filed a complaint with the Denver Police Department on behalf of MJ, Lee, and Marcos. And the three of them were gracious enough to agree to mediation with the officer. And the minute you agree to mediation with the Denver Police Department, it absolves them of all discipline. So of course it's in the officer's interest to go to mediation. You remember what happened in mediation, Lee?
Them guys were just not cooperating with us because we wanted to get this result about our stuff being missing, and they refused to cooperate.
They refused to even admit it. They refused to help you in any way, shape, or form. And then Officer Chavez spent a great deal of time with Commander Thomas. You remember the commander that was in there?
Oh, yeah.
They spent a great deal of time belittling you and talking down to you.
About because we're homeless and stuff, yeah.
Yeah?
It just wasn't right.
Yeah, it was a really, really ugly mediation. And you guys ultimately got screwed in that deal. And you guys always recover. That's what they take for granted. They know that you guys are survivors, right?
Yep.
And you always figure it out.
Somehow, some way, we do.
But this particular day, I'm here to tell Lee what has happened with a complaint that I filed with the Denver Fire Department this time. So, Lee, back on August 13th, that was the date it happened. What were you doing?
I was sitting here, just got finished grabbing me something to eat, a slab of ribs, some corn on the cob, on some potatoes, and I'm here under a controlled fire underneath some rocks, and having getting my ribs on the grill, getting a good brown on it and everything else, and here comes the fire department asking me to put it out. I grabbed a bottle of water, stopped putting it out with my bottle of water, and the lady says, no, not good enough, and she grabbed her chemicals and changed my food. With only $60, $50,
$60 worth of food that Lee was cooking with a controlled fire. The smoke went up over this guardrail. Somebody called the fire department. They showed up in full gear, right?
Mm-hmm.
In full gear. And ruined his food.
Yep.
And what happened after she ruined the food?
I got mad, and so...
You got mad?
Yeah. Using my foul language and everything else.
Using foul language. You can't use foul language like the F word, like
yeah.
F you.
I never said that.
You never even...
You ruined the food.
Did you ask her to replace the food?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah. I said, you guys will replace it no matter what. And they never said nothing and walked away and went up there, got in the truck and went on.
And left.
Yep.
So I got wind of it because MJ had run into Mark Rudolph, fire prevention with the Denver Fire Department at a different homeless encampment. And she had mentioned it to him, and he had mentioned it to me, and I said, that's not okay. And so I don't know if you know this or not, Lee, but earlier this year, there was a fire. Somebody's camper was destroyed. And Mark Rudolph from the fire department tried very hard to help them. Like any person that would lose their home, they'd get the Red Cross assistance and all of that. So same kind of situation. The fire department showed up, put the fire out, and left them standing there in the middle of the night, in the middle of winter. Nobody activated any help for them. Nobody knew anything.
Damn.
And so the next day, Mark Rudolph spent some time trying to do the right thing, and only to learn that the local Red Cross chapter has a policy that they don't help people that aren't in brick and mortar homes if they lose their homes. I shit you not.
They're out of luck.
Yeah, they're out. You don't get any help from the Red Cross. If you're in an unfortunate situation and you've lost your home and you're living in an RV and it burns down, oh well. Just stand there in the middle of the night. So because of that, I filed a complaint. But the complaint process was like non-existent. So I had to end up going down to their headquarters at downtown off of Colfax and Spear, right? And the chief that was in charge of internal affairs wasn't available. It took me like 3 days to get in contact with this guy. But ultimately, he ended up defining an online complaint process for people because I wanted to be sure if things like this happen in the future for you guys, you'd be able to file complaints and get resolved. So he did a really good job with all of that. And I used the complaint process. He did an investigation into that fire. He gave me his findings, and it all flowed pretty well. So that's the same process I used this time for you, okay? Because I helped define that process. I should have used it.
Right.
Well, when I filed the complaint, I got no response. I got no email that said we've received your complaint. Nothing. So I wrote that same chief and I said, hey, what's going on? And he said, oh, I'm in a different position. We have a new person over IA, and her name is Kathleen Vredenberg, like freedom, but not Vredenberg with a V. So I email her. She doesn't bother to respond. 2 weeks go by. I still don't have a response from Denver Fire. So Mark and I happened to be talking about it. And I said, you know what? I'm going to go over to that fire station. And I'm just going to have a conversation with them and see how it goes. Right? Well, Mark always tries to be a good steward for the fire department and essentially for us out here, right? I mean, we have a good relationship with Mark. We have a very good relationship with Mark.
It caused me no problems at all.
Anytime he comes to talk to you, he's talking to you about how to make things safer, how not to get yourself trapped in a fire. That's his job. His title is fire prevention, and he does a damn good job of it out here.
Yeah, and he looked at that and he said, there shouldn't have been no problem with that fire I had going for my...
Yeah, because you had food.
Yeah, and I had water. I had water right there. I had my fire going.
Yep.
Under low heat, and it was controlled because I was poking out my ribs.
For you and MJ that night, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Cooking dinner.
Mm-hmm.
And you had no other food.
Mm-hmm.
So the fire department puts his food out. They don't respond to my complaint. I end up going over to the firehouse with Mark Rudolph, and it actually turned out to be a really good meeting. I mean, we were talking to each other like adults. They showed me great hospitality. The firefighter that put your fire out explained it as a misunderstanding, wanted to make it right, wanted to know when she could meet you. I said, that's fantastic. All I was asking for was for them to replace your food. That's all that needed to happen.
Right.
But she wanted to take these extra steps. Okay, fine, great. So I set it up. We were supposed to go there today at 1 o'clock. I got a call yesterday from a guy named Bob Kmak, like Kmart. Bob from Kmart called me yesterday. He's the shift commander for the Denver Fire Department. Shift commander, not part of internal affairs. And he says, I'm calling to investigate your complaint. I said, I sent you guys an email and told you never mind to disregard my complaint because I already handled it. And he said, oh, how did you handle it? I said, well, like adults, and we're going to have a meeting with the homeless individual over at the firehouse. Whoa, no. That's where I'm putting the brakes on. That's where I'm putting the brakes on. I said, excuse me?
Can't do that.
I said, what's the problem? We don't know that man's COVID status. Lee, let me tell you what. I was in the middle of King Soopers, and it took every ounce of my being not to reach through the phone and poke that fucker straight in the eyeball. I said, you know what then? We'll just stand outside. Don't you go to that firehouse. So you know what? I don't think that firefighter was very serious about what she said. And I don't have any trust. She didn't respond to me again when I confirmed our appointment. Why the fuck would we go over there?
I know, right. It's all on YouTube, making this all arranged, and then they cannot do it.
You know why? You know why? Because somebody got wind of the problem being handled, and the fire department didn't want to assume any responsibility for anything they may have done incorrectly or inhumanely. So instead of addressing it like adults with common sense, they decided to take the stupid stance. So now they're going to get treated like that.
Move your food so we could put out the fire. I would have did that. But they didn't. I didn't even get a chance to remove my food from the grill, from my pit. If they would have did that, everything would have been fine. I wouldn't have said nothing. But I found out another way to cook it, but they had to drench my food. Like I said, almost $50, $60 worth of food gone to waste.
So this is really put a hitch in how we can trust the fire department. I mean, come on. They don't know your COVID status? Fuck you. You don't know mine. You don't know anybody's out here. They come out here all the time. Did they come out here and ask you your COVID status when they put your fucking fire out?
Nope.
I was pissed. I was so pissed. It took me half the day to cool down from it. How dare them? How fucking dare them? So that ruins everything we've accomplished to be able to have that level of trust. As far as I'm concerned, I already know you guys have your own opinions about authority, how they approach you, how they handle situations, and
But
I don't...
this time around, they didn't handle it right and nothing else. That's why I'm not pissed about it. She could have said, hey, could you remove my food and someone could put it out? Now, yeah, that would have been more than happy to. But she never gave me a chance to even remove my food. Before I turned around, she had my food drenched in that chemical. So it's some kind of soap that creates sud that puts fire out faster or whatever. I mean, it definitely ruins your food. Yeah.
So you know what? I could be the person that I know how to be, and we could march our ass over there, and I can raise hell and scream and yell. But you know what? I'm not going to put you in that situation. You know, the cops are right there. I'm just not going to put you in that situation. So what I am going to do is I'm going to fix Denver Fire's fuck up, and I'm going to give you this $50 money card. Have you used these before?
At Walmart? Yeah.
So this is the reloadable kind.
Okay.
So if you don't want this, I'll give you $5, $10 Walmart gift cards. But yeah, this is handy because you could pay your cell phone bill with this.
Stuff I need for the camp.
Yeah, you can. You can reload this.
Okay.
You can reload this.
My sign and everything else.
All right, and it stays active, but it charges you a monthly fee, I think. So just make sure.
$6 is on there.
Yeah. So I loaded it with $50. You have to activate it. You're good with doing that, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I know those are handy when you guys need to pay for things elsewhere. I didn't want to just send you to Walmart if you wanted to go somewhere else.
Oh, Walmart's cool. Walmart's good.
Because
I go to Walmart all the time.
I know, but the Super 99-cent store.
Oh yeah, they don't have their card, so.
You can't use a card? You can't use a credit card there?
No, you can use a credit card, but they don't have the gift card.
Oh, I know. I wish they did.
They're in the midst of trying to get that now, so.
Are they?
Yeah, I asked about it, and they said they're in the midst of working on it now.
Okay.
Fees and all that.
Yeah, the Super 90.
You have to go to the COE and just have to get the card underneath the business and so like a
Good.
card underneath the business.
All right. Well, I want you to have that to at least replace what they destroyed. I thought they were serious about it, but they're obviously not. I feel like they lied. So, that's the taste that's left with what we're dealing with, and I want to tell the story, and I want people that watch to know.
Remember, this is the same spot I got blown up at.
Yeah?
When my camp stove blew up on me, my propane camp stove.
Yep.
Dropped finished eating dinner, turned off my camp stove. I fixed dinner, turned off my camp stove, ate dinner, lit a cigarette, boom, slowly.
Yeah, and we've learned a lot of lessons about that, right?
Yep.
And we're much better off.
With the butane.
A year later, yes, we've learned a lot.